Hello, good afternoon. Apologies, we are a little bit late. We have been doing some outside filming for our Christmas special. It's good. It's good.
It was good.
We've got our Christmas show.
See where the talent was and where it isn't.
Yeah, and I am. Yeah,
you're towards the end of where the talent is.
My disclaimer is I am not 100% in any stretch, by any stretch. But hey ho, it was all good. Very wet out there as well.
How the other half lives, eh? Pro training session
makes you wonder how some players can't get better at football if that's what they're
doing every day,
doing every single day. But hey ho. But one team that you cannot level that at the moment is Everton, John, who have won 4 on the bounce in the Premier League.
First time for quite a while.
It is, yeah. It certainly is. And 4 clean sheets. And things are looking up at the moment for Big Sean and his boys.
Yeah. Yep.
That's it.
Well, yeah. I mean,
you might have to move to America. You know that, don't you? You know,
I said this.
You left the country and we've won every game.
Said this to me, lad, yesterday. The last 4 games before I went, we won 2, drawn 1, lost 1. And everyone saw the loss because it was at home.
Yeah.
So it's maybe that's a good segue. So it's been coming, hasn't it? I mean, slow. If you set aside those first 4 games, everyone can say this, I suppose, but seriously, you set aside those 4 games, then we're top 6 performance ever since, aren't we?
We've won 10 out the last 13.
Yeah, in all comps is that.
Which is incredible.
So, I mean, he's got them structured at the back, stuff. They're playing for each other. Team spirit seems to be sky high, which is always a good thing. Winning is a habit, just like losing is. And I thought against Burnley, because I watched that while I was in the States, they didn't take much out of themselves to win, did they?
I think the biggest thing the biggest compliment you can give them is that Michael Keane and Ben Godfrey came in and looked like they'd been playing every week on the day. You know, Everton changed the system. They went to 3 at the back.
Yeah,
the manager said afterwards they'd had a walkthrough for about 15 minutes. That was it. Due to obviously injuries and everything, losing Michalenko very late, and for the team to have that kind of walkthrough and then go out and perform as well as they did.
Well, I think that's the other thing. It's the same thing, but that's another symptom, if you like. We talk about symptoms and causes and stuff like that. A symptom of the good team spirit is a couple of players drop in, and then it reaffirms it, doesn't it, when they still play as a good unit. And losing both the left-sided players, obviously could have been a big hole in one respect, but it wasn't. And Michael Keane's always better in the opposition's box. Sorry, that's rude. Often is better in the opposition's box. And I thought he took his goal really well.
That's tremendous, yeah. Well, we know we can finish. We only have to watch the training videos to watch how well he finishes.
He does that every time at training.
Brilliant.
And Godfrey showed, if any of his pace has gone, he had enough with that clearance, And if he's one to be moved on in January for some pennies, that wouldn't have done us any harm in trying to get money out of people, would it? So.
No, I thought he played very well, but
he did.
I thought he did. I thought come in and show that he is a good player.
Burnley do make it easy for you to play. Yeah.
I thought they did okay. I thought second half especially they put us under pressure. I mean, don't get me wrong, there wasn't wave after wave. They did have some lively players.
Well, they got youngsters with pace and talent and technical ability. Company must have a let from the American ownership that says just keep playing the way you were playing, because he doesn't have a plan B, does he? I don't think.
They have slightly, excuse me, changed in the last few weeks. They've gone a little bit more direct. They've gone a little bit 4-4.
Eventually, they started trying to go over the top.
They just didn't. Everton, to be fair, Tarkowski was outstanding again. I think Onana showed how much he gives this team.
Is,
and therefore, when you've got that going on, you're a difficult. You are a difficult team to break down, and when you're a difficult team to break down, you're in every game, aren't you? And I think that's what Everton are doing, and you can see the confidence.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I was just going to say, we're not talking about Burnley really, are we? But you could see with this pace and technical abilities they've got, if they got in front, how they could, as they did recently, score for fun. But they came up against a team who are confident in both the style of play, the structure, and the outcomes that they're getting. And every time we do that again, then we'll go out again and do it, won't we? And coming into the games against Tottenham and City, particularly City at home, I think we quite relish that, I suppose, the way they're playing at the moment versus the way we're playing. But the inevitable wobbles that might come when you play a so-called top 6 team and you might not win, we'd just ride them out and go, keep playing our game, wouldn't we? So I'm going to Tottenham at the weekend, expect something out of that, and then have some fun at home against City.
Well, that's it. I mean, I'm not getting ahead of myself.
That's right.
That'll still be a hugely difficult game. And Spurs will be a hugely difficult game.
I think Spurs away would be that. On paper right now, it's the harder of the two. You never thought you could think you got Tottenham and City next, and the harder of the two is Tottenham. But I mean, again, the wrong Tottenham can turn up, can't it? So that's be.
Oh well, listen, Everton will have a chance in both, but
we're the form team, mate. Yeah.
I've been an Evertonian for long enough to know that.
There's always going to be that lingering.
Of course there is. Yeah, because the reality is we're not a top team. So
no, we're not.
You can have great form and you can be playing well and you can be confident. The reality is football comes down to footballers at the end of the day. And if Tottenham turn it on, they'll beat us because they've got better footballers than us. And City have got much better footballers
Absolutely.
Than us. What Everton have got better than both of them right now is great team spirit, great organisation. And everyone's confident.
The team with the best players don't always win.
No.
You'd know every season, wouldn't you, what the outcome was going to be? And yeah, it's going to be fun.
No, but the playing brilliant.
If you want to do a that's Everton type thing,
I'm not saying that.
It'd be tomorrow, wouldn't it?
What I'm saying is
it'd be tomorrow, wouldn't it?
What I'm saying is we've done fantastically well of late, and this isn't. What one thing slightly annoys me.
I'm going to keep referencing the 10
is they keep going on since they've got that points deduction. Well, no, because we'd won 6 out of 9 before the points deduction or something. You know, we'd been on a good run anyway. So it's not a case of look at them once they got the points deduction, as if that's
it's just narrative, isn't it?
Yeah, of course, it is.
You've riled them and they've stepped up a bit. No, we've just rolled in, and particularly the home games, home games have really made a big difference about, again, teams where I think would tighten our chain and they didn't. So happy days, mate. Happy days, yeah. Happy to live in Florida all the time if people want to fund it because... Yeah,
and Everton win.
Yeah.
We'll come back onto the footy in a little bit, but while you were away on Friday, Everton announced that they would be won't be moving to the new stadium until August 25, so 18 months, despite the fact the stadium will be completed next December. This time next year it'll all be done. I don't think that's a stretch. I think it'll be done probably before then. I was a bit disappointed on Friday when I heard the news, because I'm a believer that we should go into it immediately. First opportunity we get. I've seen and heard different arguments for remaining at Goodison for the year. So the one thing I would say is at least we know. So for me now, that's one uncertainty removed, and then just go, right, okay, we're going in August 25 then, that's the way it is. I know Are we though? I'll have a great seat for the whole of next season. So what were your initial thoughts on it?
I think we've had this chat before, haven't we? Really?
I know, but it hadn't been confirmed.
Yeah. So I was surprised that an announcement was made because we've had a long time, particularly the chief exec, previously stadium development director, saying, we're on schedule, and we won't make a decision yet. And clearly, a decision yet was when would we move, right? So I don't know why they made a decision now when let's get through the winter. I think I do know why, because you would only wait to get through the winter to determine whether you're able to get into the stadium sooner, right? I think part of the challenges of going early like that is have Lango Rourke realigned their plan, right? Are they still going to hand the thing over, as I believe they're expected to, on New Year, Christmas Eve, 2024? At which point the stadium, again, because I've asked Colin this, I think, in shareholders meetings, that timetable includes all the test events. So if that's still the case, that means around this time next year, the stadium will be finished. It will have had the necessary test events for Lang O'Rourke to be released from their contract. Thank you very much. You've delivered what you should have done. And then 8 months later, we'll play a men's game in it. And I've never really seen statements from Everton where they talk about the men's team. Maybe that's just being PC. But the implication, one might suppose, is that under 21s and all the women may play there before the men do. I'm not a great fan of "at least we know." That's usually what you tag on to the wrong answer. Yeah, but at least we know. Yeah. So I'm surprised at the timing. The decision itself doesn't surprise me. Because I think, often the most frequently used phrase about this build and the construction side of it is it's complex, which always makes you think it's hard and difficult. Buying yourself more time is great, but if the previous chief exec hadn't bought herself a year, we'd be in it already. Yeah. If the chief exec before her hadn't bought himself a year, we'd have been in it 2 years ago.
He was working a day and a half on it, John.
And so 3 chief execs in a row have taken what may be perceived as cautious decisions, I suppose. I'm not quite sure. I've not really spoken to anyone to ask, I suppose, but I'm not quite sure about some of the stuff I saw on social media where people were told that from a financial point of view, it's neutral, or, in other words, shall we have 20 million quid's extra revenue from a bigger stadium, or shall we stay where we are? And the decision becomes, shall we stay where we are? Well, there's a lot of costs there going to get burnt through by not moving 2 stadiums and all that sort of stuff. So I don't know how the finances play out, but if the club tell us it's financially neutral or it's financially beneficial to stay at Goodison, I find that hugely surprising. And we're a business that needs income, and we need to get aligned with financial fair play and all those sorts of things. I did have a really good conversation with somebody while I was in the States, and I'll ask you the question, actually, yeah? Because there was the person I was speaking to was positive in the sense of supportive of the decision, because they're in the camp, not so much of giving Goodison a good send-off, but understanding the complexity of it and all those sorts of things. And I said, well, if you do a survey asking the fans what they want to do, and Everton did a survey, though they haven't published the results, but I believe the results of the survey have driven the decision, right? So it's the fans' choice to stay at Goodison, maybe, or partially. But I did say, but if you ask the fans this question, Baz, so I'll ask you, would you like to stay at Goodison Park and give it a proper send-off, or move into the new stadium, right? And let's say your answer is, well, let's stay at Goodison Park. And I said, okay, are you okay? We're going to sell Jared Branthwaite to cover the loss in income. Because where we're going into is, if we are leaving income on the table and profitability on the table, and we are close to profitability and sustainability again, right, then we're going to have to pull that money from somewhere. And I can't believe we spent 3 years building a stadium to leave it empty for so long. It's beyond me, but then I'm not on the inside seeing the numbers. Yeah. And if the numbers are wrong, i.e. perversely it is financially better to stay at Goodison for that year, then we should have got the bloody thing built sooner then. You know what I mean? I mean, because if the stadium was due to be finished in July, we wouldn't wait an extra year, would we? Right? So I guess what the club wants or needs is the buffer of a summer to do the transition. Yeah? And yet, if the catering teams are different teams, you don't need any buffer. Yeah? I think.
But what if they are different teams?
Well, that's what I just said. Well, you've got a new team, so they can go into stadium, get ready, and the old team are still running the old one. But I can't believe if you pay into, I guess it's Sodexo, basically, yeah, in the new stadium. But if your concerns are we're going to have double costs, which again, that's how you get the financial modelling sorted out, then again, if you've been contracting with people like Sodexo and others for a period of time, knowing you own it into a new stadium, knowing that there's a chance it won't be them in the new stadium, why have a contract that runs beyond, you know what I mean? So, but that happens sometimes. Sometimes it's called stranded costs, yeah? But still, maybe the 10 million difference between Goodison and Bramley Moore is still a lot of money.
Oh, yeah.
And let's see what happens. And of course, the club are awfully cautious at the moment when asked, "Will we fail PSR again?" Yeah, they haven't published the accounts yet for the last financial year, and
the
we
Premier
don't.
League have to have them in 13 days, don't they?
Yeah.
December 31st.
That's from the club still can't tell people like us when we're going to see those accounts. So it's one of them, mate. You don't know what you don't know, but it just seems, for me anyway, personally, a little bit disappointing that it's a cautious decision, which I could expect from Colin, to be honest, and maybe it's just one of those where we haven't got the ownership issue dealt with. Who's to say a future owner, couldn't change their mind? But, and you've heard this from me before when we've done the BWB stuff. You tell people they've got longer to do something, yeah, they'll use the time up. They'll use the time up, and I think there's consultation going on now, isn't it, on how the season ticket transition would be done and so on. But the club must already know how many season ticket holders it's going to have in the new stadium, because they can't have done that financial modelling without it. So it'd be interesting to know whether we're going to be at the high end of what's possible, i.e. 42,000 season ticket holders, or do what PED wants, which stick with the 32 and enjoy the upside financial benefits of walk-ups and stuff like that. The insight thing, which would be interesting, is, perhaps we'll finish with this, the one thing we don't know is if they could increase the income from Goodison Park for the last season to cover the gap between what we would get if we went to Bramley Moore. And one way of achieving that is to have the prices at Goodison for the last season pretty much the same as they would be in the first season at Bramley Moore. So maybe when we see the season ticket pricing, when will that be? January time? We'll know, won't we? And that's part of the timing, I would imagine. No one said timing's a bit odd. It's not odd if you're about to announce your season ticket prices.
You've got to be very careful, though, because they already whacked them up last year for this season.
But they're going to get whacked up
anyway. And if they whack them up again and whack them up again, they'll get criticism, and that's what they...
Well, they'll just have to roll with the criticism.
Well, I don't know. I think you've got to be careful. I just don't think...
Well, you think people will stop going?
I just don't think you can keep putting the prices up, John. I don't. There's lots of other ways to make money, be better at commercial stuff.
Ticket prices
the poorer. No, I know they will, but when you look at what it was 2 seasons ago to what it'll be...
Low.
Well...
They were too low.
Okay, I'm just saying.
But anyway, that's the point. If you try and... Because you guys got a press release, didn't you? Did it give any insight, or was it just generally...
Just literally said.
Okay.
The Colin Chong's press release was much more than what the press... press release basically just said they're staying because of this. Because
the timing of announcing that is clearly going to have some relationship with ticket announcements for 24, 25, which everyone will now know is all at Goodison Park, right? And I expect, and I would be surprised if they're not, because, again, going back to the financial challenges that we have, if they're not another substantial increase. We expect, do we not, that, a general admission at Bramley Moore, I'm making it up, I don't know, maybe 800 quid or something. Well, Park End's the most expensive at the moment. It's about 600 and something. That gap's got to be closed. So minimally, you might say close half the gap for the last full season at Goodison. And so there'll be a hike in Matchday.
Why has it got to be 800 a season? Because that's what people will ask.
Well, why? What do you want it to be?
Well, if it's 6, mine is 660.
Yeah, I think there's only pence between...
So if it's 660, why should my season ticket be 800?
It's a better stadium.
So what? I'm daily bottom. I'm still going into... the product's not going to be better on the pitch. The Premier League's getting worse, so I'm not seeing a better product.
Yeah.
I wouldn't go to the theatre if it was continually getting worse, would I?
Well,
We're not buying better players.
You charge as much as you think you can get away
No,
with.
I'm just saying, I'm just asking you, because a lot of people will be going, why has it got to go up another? So that's gone up 300 quid in 2 seasons, and the product's
because they were
got
too
worse
low.
and worse.
They've been too low for too long. They've been too low for too long. And that's a product of whatever 10 years plus of Baxendale and Kenwright hold, in my view, holding ticket prices artificially low.
Fair enough.
And
I'd say
because they were artificially low, in that sense, we've had less money to spend on players. Therefore, we've been less successful on the field. But
I'd argue all of those points, because that stop paying footballers crazy wages who aren't good enough. That's been a big killer.
Oh, listen.
One footballer, you paying them, offering players 120 grand a week. If you're offered them 70 grand a week, no one would need an increase. No price season ticket, because it covers it.
I would tend to disagree.
But it does.
Yeah.
Well, that's up to you, but that's what I'm saying.
Sorry, 'cause
the real issue is everything's going out the door to these players who don't deserve the money.
Okay, we're moving now from ticket prices to where the money goes, right? And that's,
Yeah, but that's a real thing.
Second. No, I know it's a real thing. But where I come from is, and that almost becomes a business we're playing this, right? Whoever's got hold of the cost, and we often talk about, for example, the director of football owning the budget for the sports side, and let's say the chief exec, Colin, so we've got Kevin and Colin, right? Colin owning the costs for the non-sporting side. Both those people, not Colin because he is the chief exec, but if we had a chair, say, would be challenging both of them to achieve their objectives at the lowest possible cost. And then you'd look over the other side of the house where you've got a commercial director, chief commercial guy, Rishi Kenyon. Your job is to drive up the income, the revenue, and then the gap between the two is that profit thing which you can spend, right? I don't see anything typically, and we're not on the inside, so we don't see whether they have challenges sessions at boardroom meetings and stuff like that. What we do know is, right, we couldn't say our arse for our elbow when it comes to complying with PSR, right? Now, clearly, we have a situation as a football club right now where our income is too low, not just because of stadium, commercial, which is your point, I think, part of it, right? And our costs are too high.
Yeah.
And we all know that there are undoubtedly players who are earning big fat wages when perhaps we could have negotiated either a different player on lower wages, right?
Easily,
with a higher ceiling, youth, all that sort of stuff, or the same player, not on crazy money, right?
Yeah.
Meanwhile, the commercial side needs to grow. But we've had a business which for a number of years has convinced itself that, we can't really raise commercial income and all the things that are associated with that until we have a new stadium because we're constrained by Goodison Park, right? So that's been their excuse, whoever they are, right? The cost side really needs hard work. And that's not getting rid of admin staff and people at the Royal Liver Building who, if you like, you could get rid of 100 of them and it still wouldn't make up the difference of one player who's earning $1 million or too much per annum. You know what I mean? So what we need as an organisation is to see that you've got a boardroom which is populated by really skilled and experienced people where challenge is the norm. Not something for you to decide you don't like someone because they challenge you or can't answer basic questions or are very introspective and cautious. Positive challenge, open challenge, not let's have a go at Ned challenge. Yeah, So it's hard to see how we even make decisions until that culture's in place. It's hard to see how it's difficult to make decisions when your board is an interim chief exec, an outgoing owner, and his bagman, right? And so it is difficult, and being inside the club right now must be difficult because it's probably unfair to say it's leaderless, but it's not got the leadership it deserves and needs, has it? I.e. someone who's in post, who's empowered and accountable for decision making, and you always get that as an issue if you have interim people, because we've got a situation now where the three people who've made the decision about when we're moving may not actually be around to see the consequences.
We've had that before.
I don't mean out the company. Well, not in Colin's case, not out the company, but the other two will go as soon as the ownership things change.
Yeah,
won't it? So then you're into, well, someone like 777 being able to influence the decision. You would expect, if people really truly do expect these guys to become the new owners, that they would have minimally been consulted.
Mm-hmm.
And if they've minimally been consulted, then they minimally have not said no, have they?
No.
So interesting, but like you say, at least we know now. But I would anticipate significant uplift in season ticket prices.
Well, that's fair enough. I totally disagree, but that's the way it is, isn't it? A lot of people disagree with this, John. A lot of people.
Which bit?
The prices. Sheep as Kenobi says he's missing the point.
I'm missing the
it's
point.
Right to put season ticket prices up. Mine went from 475 to 600. Ken Sprayer said working class fans losing out. John?
Why am I missing the point? We can't have guys our cake and eat it.
No, but
we can't.
See, I normally go, I get it, I see it. There's been 2 hikes the last 2 seasons.
That's because we didn't have any for 10.
But there's been 2.
No, I understand.
We're in it.
I pay the increases.
No, I know
well.
you do, I know. But we're talking about, we keep patting ourselves on the back because we're creating a new stadium in one of the poorest areas of the Northwest. And yet, what we're going in, we're trying to pay prices of London clubs. No, disagree.
They're not London clubs' prices.
John, we're in a working class city, right? Where people do struggle to go the game. And yet we'll happily pay some footballer, washed up footballer, 100 odd grand a week to do nothing. £5 million a year to do nothing. And there's a bleeding list of them, mate, who walk out the door.
I wasn't saying I don't believe you. It was...
But we've done it time and time again. And you know, if we didn't do it, you know, if we just went, actually, we're not going to do that. Some of that cost could go back to the fans, which is the real thing. Footballers, Everton. You see, the big thing the big thing I look at. I don't massively disagree with you. There has to be some upside, but we're already gaining 13,000 extra fans the minute we go. So there's 13,000 extra money that's got, you know, pots of money, whatever amount you want to put on that, right? So it's improved. But the issue I think we're going to have is we keep hiking it up and going, well, everyone else is doing it. That doesn't wash with me.
I don't use words like everyone else.
Because we can't compete with Liverpool and we're never going to be able to, because their wage bill's double ours and their commercial people are a million times better than ours and they've got leadership that's miles better than probably we'll ever have, because they dream about winning stuff and we don't. We dream to exist. That's our mantra in our football club. Just keep your head above water. It's always been like that. It's been like that for 20 years. And that's maybe why we're where we are. But, so, you've almost got a decision to make within this and what's real and what is beneficial to your supporters. And, listen, I didn't agree with what a lot of what Bill Kenwright did and a lot of what Denise Barrett-Baxendale did. But I agree with them trying to make it affordable, because that was the thing we had. Now, there's been 2 hikes, and those 2 hikes must have generated much bigger incomes, because
we failed PSR.
I've felt it. We failed PSR for the simple thing that, A, we've got 1 million staff that we don't need.
I'm agreeing with you.
We could get rid of...
They're all joined up. These things are all joined up.
We could have got rid of 2/3 of our staff because we don't need them. That's that simple. Right? Stop paying footballers stupid wages. I've not seen a footballer come onto that pitch at Goodison, right? This is the truth.
What do you think is going to happen?
No, listen to me. I've not seen a footballer go onto that pitch and do something with a ball that most lads who play footy on a Saturday could do. Apart from James Rodriguez a couple of years ago, who was incredible. I watch Everton players now, and it's great if they can pass a football 5 yards. We clap. When we get it and switch the play, which is a 30-yard straight pass, under no pressure, our fans clap. Right? I watched Man City on Saturday get bored. They were back-heeling things to each other, and you could see they just got bored. And their City fans are just like this, and they're winning 2-0. And they end up throwing it away, right? Their players are on they play in a different universe than our players. So why should our players be millionaires, right? No, but this is the... We're never going to live with City, so it's over.
Okay.
So we have to make a
See,
model.
I don't have that binary view. It's over, right? City could end up bloody out of business in 2 years' time, but we wish, right? But these things are all interrelated, okay? The one that's most emotive for fans is a ticket price because they're the ones who have to pay it, okay? But what you do is you have a hopper, right? And what goes into the top of the hopper is the challenges that you face about how much income do we need to sustain a certain level of performance. And there are a number of towers, right? We know what the towers are. They're broadcast, they're player trading, they're commercial income, and they're match day income. Match day income is only one of them. In an ideal world, the last one you should have to hike to perform is that one, right? Because what you're really saying is we can't sustain ourselves through the others, right? The one where we are consistently piss poor is commercial income.
Yeah.
Anyone who listened to 70, 80, 90, God knows how many versions of Everton Business Matters that me, Paul and Roger did, and so on, would say we've got at least 10 years evidence of people with a bit of business background complaining that the commercial performance just isn't good enough. And yet the people doing it are the same people who've been there since year dot. That's not a criticism of individuals. Yeah. That's just saying somehow you need to be able to sell this football club better than you do. Okay? It becomes a very easy sell when you've got a beautiful stadium on the banks of the Royal Blue Mersey.
Yeah.
Up to a point, it becomes an easy sell. You know, Emperor's New Clothes, all those sorts of things, right? But when we as fans, the reason sorry for almost shutting you out, saying what's going to happen?
I'm just asking you the question.
Yeah. What's going to happen in a couple of weeks? Fans are going to say, "Are we buying someone in January? Where's the money coming from?"
Well, we're not anyway, are we?
And the answer, no, I know, but the answer to where's the money coming from is coming from broadcast income, player trading, commercial income, and ticket. We'll call it tickets, but it's match day income.
Yeah.
Two of those fans have a real strong view about. Sell to buy. I don't like sell to buy. Don't like that, right? Don't like my ticket price going up, right? Which is normal, right? That leaves broadcast. We have no control over it. That means commercial.
Yeah.
Nearly did that then.
Do whatever you want. Hey,
no, because that was commercial, right?
Yeah.
So the thing that lets us down by definition as a place called Start is piss poor commercial performance.
Yeah.
Right? And we never, you know my soundbite on this, we culturally never seem to do what we should have done yesterday until tomorrow. Okay? So spinning it all the way back to the beginning, the club have gone early with, we're definitely going to be at Goodison Park for the whole of next season.
Yeah.
So let's see you drive significant commercial benefit from that. Otherwise, it's hard to believe that it's financially the best answer.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. And as soon as we start hearing, well, we can't get any of this because everyone knows it's our last season and this, that and the other. And people will talk about, let's have a whole year of celebrating Goodison Park. That's not how it works. We're going to have one big blowout day. Presumably, we've already asked the Premier League, and we have the last game of the season at home type of thing, you know? And no doubt the hospitality lounges will be full, the ground will be full. But most of the financial upside will go to people who sell their tickets. It won't go to the club, will it? The only chance the club gets to financially benefit from that last season at Goodison Park is put the ticket prices up.
No, I know. Listen.
And prepare people for what will be higher ticket prices.
I'm paying the higher prices and I'll pay it again and I'll pay it again. Yeah. And that's the way it is. I'm not saying the thing. I just think you've got to try to look after everyone.
Well, some you have a range of prices then, don't you?
The thing is in a mix. The audience is mixed. Some agree with you.
But well, it depends what we want. But it's the big picture stuff, isn't it? Right? And so.
See, if it was a case of if we put it up, that's it. We'll be able to afford all these players. It's actually when you actually look at the difference, it doesn't make any difference. Come look at the differences. We all pay extra. We probably make what? What do we make extra? If we all pay an extra £200 for our season ticket, we end up with about £5 million more or something, which doesn't afford
in the grand scheme. Sorry, and that's the point, right? But it's about a culture, right? And the culture needs to be maximising income as much as you possibly can, minimising cost as much as you possibly can. So if you start off at the beginning of the season saying this way too small stadium with 52,888 seats No one's commented they're going to get you your 53 yet.
No, well, they've already, mate. You see, this is where my thing is. You see, if they went, listen, we're putting 60,000 in here, and the season tickets are going up to 850 quid a season, but we're having 60,000 because we're going to make this revenue, and that's going to propel my football club into fighting for Champions League because we've got all this money. Then you kind of go, I get it. But what they've done is they've gone, no, we're not. Why should we have a bigger stadium which will make us tons of money, which will help us challenge? They've just done Everton.
Empty seats isn't a good look, Baz. Baz, empty seats isn't a good look. I mean.
They've done their thing of like scale your ambition right down, which leads me to go, we may as well forget those clubs because we haven't got the ambition. There's nobody at that.
What did we
club.
say when, remember, it's a long time ago now, isn't it? I'm doing a live piece with Jim White on Sky Sports News when the stadium, and I've not seen any press releases, never got any forewarning. I was still chair of the Shareholders Association at the time. I had no warning at all. I go live on Sky and Jim White's gobsmacked when I say it's too small, right? And then the follow-on to that, naturally, and again, the Business Matters pods will still be out there, natural quid pro for that is ticket prices are going to be higher as a consequence. You've still got to generate the revenue, and the revenue you're seeking to generate has to come from less bodies because you've only got 52,000 bodies in the stadium, not 62,000. Yeah. And the club at the time said, oh, but it's upgradable. Come on. You knew when you said that, at best, it was misleading. At worst, it was something else, right? Very small likelihood that stadium is ever going to have a capacity significantly larger than its opening capacity, certainly not as an all-seater stadium. Therefore, you have to drive your income streams, and if you have someone accountable for matchday income, they have to do whatever it needs to be to get that as big as possible. Now, the big advantage we have at the new stadium, and let's see if we can drive this, is we've got a massive fan zone, right? If you can get the 10,000 people into the fan zone before the game paying £7 for a pint or whatever it turns out to be, then maybe you can drive it that way. But if we take the cautious route with that, and those who financially benefit are just the concessions who've sold to you. Yeah. If we have loads of hospitality areas with weddings and God knows what else, but all that money predominantly goes to third parties, and that's when you get into people, and Roger and Paul were very much advocates of doing things in-house when we did it on EBM. Me with an outsourcing background, I'd say outsource. But if you contract badly, then both of them are bad. Yeah. You know what I mean? So you need smart people who know how to contract, who know how to drive third parties, who know where the value should land, and the value should land inside your business, not inside somebody else's business. But if you want to bring in expert resource, be it caterers or retailers or whatever it might be, then it has to be done in a way where it's worthwhile for them, but you're not to your detriment. Yeah. Okay? And all that should be in the blocks now, waiting for the gun to go off. And I guess the gun going off is the first one will be ticket prices at Goodison Park for the last full season, where everybody's going to want to be in that stadium. But maybe only for the last game, not for the whole of it. Okay. What happens if Everton's last game ever in Goodison Park's a relegation game? Can't second guess anything, can you? No. You know what I mean? No. So, people are getting some comfort from the fact that we're not going to change mid-season. We're not going to run the risk of the disruption of, I think you said, I don't know if you said it on camera or off about, every home game being really an away game because it's a new ground and all that.
But it'll be that the following season, won't it?
Well, that's what I mean.
Whenever time you play it, they're going to be away. Yeah. It's going to feel like away games.
Every team who comes to the Everton Stadium are going to get a lift from playing as such a magnificent beast. But there'll still only be about 3,000 of their fans in there. And there should be 59,000 of ours, but there won't be. No. There'll only be, 50-ish or 49. That's the other thing. It won't be 52 888 anyway, will it? But
surprised you haven't knocked it down to 52 777.
Yeah. Well, Tottenham. Yeah. Tottenham's first. The average attendance at the Tottenham Stadium for those, was it 7 games they played? They moved in April, didn't they, when they did it? We're all below 60.
It's costing them £1 million a game. They have to pay to play at Wembley, apparently. Yeah. So that's why they went.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, There
Happy
you go.
days.
Mixed views on the decision as well. Some people think it's a bad decision.
I think
it's a stay. It's too cautious. And says Nick Carr, and the stadium capacity's not even big enough.
That's true.
Both
true. We should be pushing hard for greater than 1-to-1 rail seats. We should have a view on it.
Should be it.
As a football club, we should have a view on it. Come on, we want to be the first people to go in the Premier League to go greater than 1-to-1.
Mm. Matthew Litherland on the super chat says, "Hi lads, I'm full of flu, so Saturday
So in the club, he's
was
got
a
something.
good boost. I've just got a heavy cold. I think
right,
that's
okay.
it." Justin says, "I agree with John. The problem is we need to increase revenues, and our ticket prices are disproportionately lower than other Premier League clubs. Newcastle is working class. Manchester too."
True.
There you go. People disagreeing with that. Tim says, Baz has just made the correlation between Liverpool wage bill and ours, and our inability to compete with them on and off the pitch, while arguing players' wages should be cut. Tim, I pay for my season ticket, mate, and I pay for my lads going up, and I'll still pay when it goes up.
Yeah, ditto.
I'm just giving you the balanced arguments. If you're sound with it and enough people disagree with you, there's words being used, that's up to you. That's fine. The same as John. That's fine. No problem with it. I'm just using what you have to do on here is present the whole argument. That's all I'm trying to do. You're happy with it, fine. What I'm saying is increasing it even up to £800 each won't bridge that gap, mate. End of story.
It'll close it.
5 million quid doesn't close nothing. Liverpool play that up for a 17-year-old.
Let everyone in for free then.
Listen, whatever. Like I said, I'll still be going. So it is what it is. It is what it is. I think we just carry on paying crap players 150 grand a week.
No,
because that's what people want. No, but that's what people are happy with. Because they're saying...
No one's happy with someone getting paid too much.
Well, they're happy with the fans fronting it because it'll bridge a gap of 4 million quid, but they're happy to give someone who looks great in the kit 100 grand a week who doesn't do nothing. That's been Everton's killer. Everton's killer has been too many people walk out of the door
for nothing,
having taken £5.5 million a year out the football club.
Do you know what?
That's what's killed you.
Do you know people who are put on, in recent times, let's just call it the last 5-ish years or so, but it's probably a bit longer, right? Then there's people who don't finish their contracts and walk out the door with lots of money. They're called ex-managers.
Yeah, that's another one, yeah.
And ex-board members. Ex-board members.
Yeah. Crazy.
You know, ex-board members who decline to be witnesses for Everton's defence.
Yeah, which is
for a profitability and sustainability breach allegation when they were in charge, choosing not to be witnesses.
Yeah, it is crazy.
Now,
that kind of stuff's mad.
That's just mad. Totally mad.
But anyway, listen.
On the field, though, things are looking...
What I'm saying is, I see both. I'll still be going, I'll still be paying it. So I'm not, doing it from my thing, going, I can't. I'm saying, you've just got to look at the whole thing. I think it's too simple.
I think what
we'll
would
just
be...
give season tickets, put season tickets. So that's too simplistic. Make the walk up huge then. If you want more to kick on,
that's where it's about to go.
Huge.
That's where it's about to go, and that is the litmus test, which is, and it plays into what Ped said for that first season at the Everton Stadium. Just have the same people as season ticket holders who were season ticket holders at Goodison Park. The renewal rates will tell you whether you've pushed the ticket pricing too far. But the best way to drive significant increases in matchday income is to have the lowest number of season ticket holders that you can get away with.
Yeah, no, I know. Justin, I've got Beecham's I'm due one, which is why the cough's come back, so I'll take that in a minute, mate. Simon says, all right, lads, great show watching in the Philippines.
It's warmer
34 degrees. It's not 34 here, mate. Absolutely.
It wasn't on that footy pitch.
No, it wasn't. Matthew Barry, hello. Matthew says, afternoon, lads, hope you're all well. Been a fantastic December so far. Hopefully we can make it even better this week. A cup win and at least points away at Spurs would be incredible. Derek says, still convinced that Keane's best position is not a centre-back.
Centre-forward.
Who knows? Ruben can't wait for the Christmas special.
They've been filming it today, guys. Well, some of it.
Some of it, yeah.
You will laugh when you see it, yeah.
Richard,
Ned, you were in, look at Ned smiling. You were in top Pilkington mode. No, we've already told him he can't.
He's got to leave. He can't
do a favourite
The two
edit to
boxes
himself.
was the end of that was so funny.
Richard says, got my Elvis blue Christmas jumper last week. I love it. It's right, Richard.
That one?
Just there, yeah. Just there.
Is that only in that colour?
Yeah. Actually, I don't know. That's the best colour, though.
Yeah.
Tyler says...
This is when we were watching you guys from the States on the telly, which is surreal. Sent you the picture, goes, is that Elvis? Yeah.
Yes, that's what it is. Blue nose.
He was an Evertonian, wasn't he?
He was, yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, lads, not been on a while. This is Tyler, so just a few questions I'm sure you've answered multiple times. Firstly, what's your feeling about the success of our appeal? What do you think will be the ultimate outcome of the potential punishment? And secondly, I think Martin Ziegler's written an argument saying any discrepancies in this year's accounts will be dealt with this season. Could we see other teams get a deduction as well? I believe Wolves and Forest are being watched amongst a few others. Yeah, if Everton have breached PSR again this season and failed, they might be given more points.
I don't think so.
I'm saying if they have, they might.
No, I don't think that you get more points necessarily.
Oh, because as they've said, it'll be dealt with this season, won't they?
Yeah, dealt with doesn't mean you get. Yeah.
Okay.
Because the rules of the Premier League allow for the fact that in a 3-year reporting period, clearly 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
Then obviously 2 and 3 become 1 and 2, don't they?
Yeah.
And then this season will be 3 type of thing, or last season will become 3. Well, if you've already been penalised for the 1 and 2,
well, you shouldn't be, but
the rules allow for them not to penalise you again.
Oh, do they?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, fair enough. All right.
But then again, the rules are so vague. It seems like the KC rather what they like. So.
What's your gut feeling on the outcome of the appeal?
I don't know. Is the honest truth. I think that the panel's been chosen. I think Everton are cool with who it is. So
are they?
We're not going to object to we don't want him or we don't want her or whatever.
Yeah.
Based on the fact we all believe, and I certainly do, that the 10 points was both unjust and disproportionate. I know they're the club's words, but they're nice and succinct for what it really is.
Yeah.
The amount of challenge that's gone on, and I don't just mean by Evertonians, but people in general, have to conclude that if there's any external influence being applied, then it'll come down. The points deduction, in other words, we'll get points back. I think what's interesting, if we go back to, I think, chat we had before I went on holiday, and we were talking about Alison Britton, who's the chair of the Premier League, that she was held harmless from all this, wasn't she? Because she'd not been in post very long.
Right.
But then when she replied to Andy Burnham, he wasn't very impressed with the reply, was he?
No.
And he asked for some information, like, can we see the minutes, please? You know.
Yeah.
And he hasn't had an answer at all this time.
Oh, is he not?
No.
Oh, okay.
Which presumably means legal people have told her STFU. Yeah. Or she has sought clarification from her chief executive about what she got told previously was true or not. So I think there's a bit of a minefield going on there, mate. I think the Premier League are currently damned if they do and damned if they don't, because clearly they're there to be shot at if Everton get a significant reduction, because it will be, well, that's just because of all the noise that you're suffering.
Yeah.
But I think there might be a certain amount of perception out there that they've tried to go heavy just to make an example of us, and maybe the new KC won't go that route.
So what do you think then? If you got what's your gut feeling telling you will be the final decision?
I swing around a little bit because
I wasn't expecting that.
No.
Fair play.
No.
Hey, keys in a bowl and all that.
Going to explain why. Yeah, because we got briefings, didn't we, from our side of the argument about we had a very good, robust defence as to why we shouldn't get particularly a points deduction.
Yeah.
And yet when you read what the KC said, it didn't look that robust of a defence to me.
No.
But we've also spoken here about how we must have learnt from that. I don't know, we're having the same KC and they're having the same case, on their side, their lawyers, if you will. But I think we should be able to present our case better. So my gut feel is we'll get a reduction in the points. I think par would be reduced to half. Yeah. And for me, I think reduced to half is not like, 5 now and 5 suspended. I think it's 5 gone.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And if you don't get them gone, then have a bigger suspended element, if that makes sense. But I think it's a bit interesting, for me anyway, that the deadline for Everton to submit their accounts for this most recent reporting season will be before the appeal is heard. So the Premier League will know whether we've breached it again or not. So there's plenty of opportunity there to adjust what you do based on what you think you can do afterwards. I personally, I was like you. I was astonished, like everybody else, with the punishment in the first place. And maybe it will suit its purpose, because if you will, Everton argued no points at all. Yeah. And now, no doubt, would be happy if it was only 5. Yeah. My gut feeling is we'll end up with 6 points deducted. Where'd you get? I just think because it has been kind of indicated that their first thing that they wanted was 6 points for failing the PSR. That's been bandied about. That's what they were looking for. Then they threw this, no, but we need to do more. So a point for every 5 million you go over. That was thrown in because of Sheffield Wednesday. But I think, I just have a feeling that that's what it'll end up. Well, I heard Ped say that on Channel while I was in the States. And I think I put a comment in it, but you get lots of comments, so never come out. I have a bit of an issue with this 6 points plus thing, right? Interestingly, if you go with the 6 points plus thing and you choose to remove the plus, you end up with 6. If you remove the 6 and just have the accelerators, i.e., for breach you get so much per millions, it would be 4. Right? They're making a bit of a rod for their own back, because they're saying a penny over and you lose 6 points. I'm just saying that. No, I understand where you're coming from. But a penny over and you get 6 points. Go into total administration and you get 9. No. So, I mean, clearly what's going to happen is post all this, which is why Martin Ziegler, who gets some decent briefing, maybe he was one of the guys who got briefed about the 12 points in the first place. But the thought that they're going to do everybody, if you like, who's been naughty before the end of this season, so at least they're going to correct that dragging on thing, then the reference point for anyone who gets put in front of the beak is, hang on a minute, Everton got 6 to 9 months to get their story straight. Why are we only getting 3 or 4? Yeah. And they've also got to get those new rules, if they're going to have an objective measure, agreed by the Premier League's shareholders. And if some of those Premier League shareholders think they're going to be on the step, which way are they going to vote? And so on and so forth. So it seems a bit ambitious to call Everton to account in March, not get round to coming up with any form of mechanism till August. Now, unless that's going to be your mechanism, then maybe they've already sounded it out amongst the shareholders who've said, well, a bit like Everton and the stadium thing, well, at least we know. Yeah. But you'd have to draw a line and say that anything that happens before this time, you're not going to get shafted that way. No. Glenn on the Super Chat says that was a great question by that club caller. Maybe that was... Which one? I don't know. Maybe Glenn's asked that question on Club Call. Last couple. So Bislock. No, 6? I haven't played Resident Evil. Yeah, I think 6. I want less than that. Yeah. I want less than that. Still think 3 points maximum, but I'm just saying. Jesse says 1 a.m. in Tasmania, lads. Big move, so I'm unpacking still. Great bit of comfort listening to you, lads. Thank you very much, mate. Good luck with the big move. And then that's one on here. Steve talking about the win at Burnley. He says all of our players who started the game, apart from Harrison, was 6 foot plus. They couldn't compete with us physically, which is ironic because I remember a few years ago when they beat us, they completely bullied us and just looked so much bigger. We talked about this start. We've got the total squad, haven't we? Yeah. Apparently, yeah. Stephen says, all right, lads, life as a Blue is fantastic at the moment. Tell Johnny, hope he's not going to jinx it. Roy is very disappointed with the decision to move August 25. I'm not sentimental about Goodison. It's like moving out. You'd have your memories, but it's time for a new chapter, onwards and upwards. And there was one about gaining the 12 points back, but we haven't, have we really? We've just got 12 points.
Mike Cosgrove says if you go a penny over with the Premier League metric, you actually get a 7-point deduction.
Oh, because they count up to 5 million. Yeah, you're right, mate. Yeah. Although I've not seen that anyone clarify that, but you're right, yeah.
Elizabeth says, hi guys, welcome back, John. Do you think the timing of decision about the new stadium might be to head off any input on the matter from potential new owners?
I'd be astonished if employees think that they should try and make decisions before the new owners turn up. New owners could change it anyway. So I think it's more to do with the cycle of... Is it December? When do they normally tell us what the crack is for following year's season tickets?
January.
Is it January? So
it starts, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think it's more to do with that than anything else, I would guess.
Okay, and I'm going to give the final question to Glenn. Says, John, commodity super cycle Blaine. Where are you on Michael Keane? Would you still sell him in January for the right price? Or does Sean Dyche have the potential to get the best out of him?
Sell him.
At Everton?
Yeah.
Okay,
Him, yeah.
There you go. If he's not going to... If Everton aren't going to play him every week, he's probably on good enough wages that these are the kind of players. Get someone younger in who can challenge to get in the team. Let Michael go on and get a game somewhere else.
Two players like Godfrey and Keane shouldn't be sitting on a bench together. So only one of them is going to sit on the bench, you would think. And because he's got a bit more pace, then perhaps Godfrey gets a favour there. But again, he's going to be more marketable, perhaps, isn't he, Godfrey?
And finally, Johnny Be Good on the Super Chat says, not sure if this has been mentioned yet, but could the new stadium be used for cup games if there are any early in 2025? As like one-off games, just like test events.
Because they're not going to be ready. That's the whole point, isn't it?
But they are going to be ready, aren't they? They're going to be ready in December, aren't they? Really?
Well, yeah, let's start the Premier League then.
No, but I think what Johnny's... I don't think so, Johnny. Because
it would be surreal, wouldn't it?
Imagine that, though,
if we had
stadium. An FA Cup home game, third round, and we played it at Goodison.
Yeah.
As a test event, that would be good. Be interesting.
10,000 away fans.
I've not heard of that before, Johnny. But it's an interesting one.
It is an interesting one, yeah.
But I don't think so.
Play our European games there, couldn't we?
Yeah. Could do, John. You just never know. That was a great question.
It is a good question, yeah.
You never know. Ken says as well.
Which Ken, though?
Ken Sprayer says, could we shoot the Premier League if we could have qualified for Europe and their points deduction costs us it for loss of earnings? Why not?
Can't shareholders agree not to sue each other?
Start trying to sue everyone. Why not? Like America.
The game is done when you go round.
It's already done.
Yeah.
With some of the stuff that goes on.
Oh, it is, yeah.
It needs dragging back drastically from where it's going.
At least City managed to negotiate something way down the line, yeah? What's happening to Chelsea?
Because they were just going, we don't agree with what you're saying.
What about Chelsea? What's happening there?
I don't know.
Pleaded guilty months ago.
They pleaded guilty and everyone's just
to UEFA, yeah?
Say not. That's Chelsea's thing.
Get it down.
Talk about something else. Keep talking about Pochettino. That'll keep people off the scent for a bit. Right, we're done. We're going to be live on More Than a Game. Well, Ped and John are going to be live on More Than a Game at 2:30. Ned'll put the magical, transformational Doctor Who type link in the comments. Click that and go over there. Join it. It's good. So when the stream ends, it'll be there. So just do it. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you later.
Good game.